This is the wildly wonderful podcast, Wide Open Spaces with Ilise, aka the Fiery Redhead. Some women fear the fire, some women simply become it. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you love listening to your favorite podcast. Go to wideopenspaceswithilise.com. Ilise is spelled I-L-I-S-E. Now let's get raw, edgy, and not so politically correct. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is episode number 186. Do you seek approval? I'll let you think on that for a minute while I give a shout out to somewhere far, far away from South Florida listeners who are listening to me in over 88 countries. And this week I'd like to shout out to Italy, Chile, El Salvador, and forgive me if I say this wrong, Burkina Faso. Yeah, someone has done, or more than one. I have 7 downloads from there. I know that doesn't sound a lot, but a little country on the opposite side of the world from where I am is listening to this voice. Now let's move on from my little plug on myself. So the title of this podcast is Do You Seek Approval? Are there question marks going up above your head like in that little talk bubble? Are you questioning yourself? Are you thinking about it? Do you seek approval? You know what? We all do. That's the honest truth. If you're shaking your head no, it's time to dig deep and think about times in your life where you have seeked someone out for approval. It can be family. It can be a significant other. It can be a really good friend or a group of friends. It can be your own children. It can be your parents. It can be someone who is a friend, but more like an acquaintance. Think about your bubble, your world, the people that are in it. I'm sure as I say this, do you seek approval? There's probably images of certain people's faces popping up in your head right now. We all have those people in our life, either currently or at one time, or they're there on the peripheral, that for some reason we seek their approval. We want to hear their accolades. We want them to notice our accomplishments or things that we've done. So we all seek approval. Maybe you have memories as a child, or maybe you're a younger person listening to me right now. And I'm in my 50s, and I still seek my mother's approval. And even the things that I do, though my dad is no longer with us, I do them thinking about what would my dad think. And so we all do seek approval in some way. And the question is why? Are we programmed that way? Do we have an emptiness inside of us that needs to be fulfilled by this approval? Do you feel like unless you get that approval, you really don't have the green light to go ahead? Now, yes, in businesses and workplaces, before you do a big project, you need approval on a budget. I don't mean that kind of approval. I mean the deep, needed psychological approval. I've struggled with that my whole life. I just told you I think about my dad who's passed away. What would he think? Sometimes I seek my husband's approval or my kids' approval, especially being in this influencer social media world. They're younger, and sometimes I'll go, what'd you think of that post? And I get that face. Because really, what does a 50-year-old really know? 50-something-year-old really know about what makes TikTok work and what goes viral? We all sit there and we watch and we look, and if you're like me, you put posts on there, and sometimes they don't get a lot of views. Sometimes You break 300. That's the magic number, to break 300, if you didn't know that. So even me in my own profession with my social media, I'm trying to seek approval to get more listeners to my podcast, to get people to purchase my book, to get to that magic number 1,000 followers so that I can have a TikTok shop and sell my products for my podcast or things that I feel are great products for mental health. Seeking approval. Now let's focus on the relationships in your life. A lot of times we get that unwanted advice. Now, when I say unwanted, you need to really think about what the advice is, who it's coming from, and why do you feel it's unwanted? Sometimes when it's unwanted, we truly need it. And so you need to dig deep and think about, why is this what you're considering to be unwanted advice triggering some type of negative feeling inside of you? Sometimes they're just trying to push our boundaries. Maybe you're not ready to go there. And so you're taking it as unwanted advice. You know, a lot of times we get that way as we get older or even younger. When our parents or a parental figure in your life gives you advice, we have the natural tendency to want to push back because now we're adults. And who are they to tell me what I should and what I shouldn't do? And so there's a lot that goes on when we're getting advice, constructive criticism, caring conversations. They're just trying to be there for you, conversations. So once you dig deep, and if you don't really see any validity to what they're saying, it's time to look at the person who's saying it. What are their motives? What are their needs? Do they get anything out of making you feel less than? Not good enough? Yes, there is so many levels and so many dynamics to getting advice from people. Some can be helpful and some can be quite detrimental. Seeking approval is another level. It's doing things that you want people to say, good job. It's doing things where people give you accolades and applaud you. It's wanting to hear that what you're doing is a good thing. Sometimes even when you seek approval, you know in the back of your head, it isn't the best thing for you. But you just want somebody to say, go for it. I think this is good for you. So you may even seek out those people in your life that you know will give you approval. But then you've got to realize, am I really being true to myself? Am I being real? Am I being honest? Do you seek approval from your closest friends? You know, friendships can be a lot like your competitors. There's a fine line between friendships and love, and competition and jealousy and envy. So when you're seeking approval from those people, you've really got to take all that in. And yes, it becomes that complicated. There have been many times in my life where I've hoped that friends would give me that rah, rah, rah and that well done, and you don't get it. And then you feel sad, and then you go to agitated, and then you question why. Because it's something positive happening in your life. And that's when you have to look at the person who's giving you the advice, the person who you're seeking approval from. It just may be them and their own issues. And I know what I'm saying is sounding maybe a little overwhelming and a little complicated because no one situation is the same as the next. Each thing you seek approval with or for is different from the last. And so, what I want you to do is create a landscape in your mind. Kind of compartmentalize the people in your world. And I know that sounds a little ick when you're labeling people in your world, but it's a coping mechanisms. I like to look at the people that I allow into my bubble to be compartmentalized. I like to know which place in my world, what purpose do they serve for me? And so I compartmentalize them. Sometimes I falter and expect more from people that aren't in that category where I'm asking for that real good advice or that seeking approval. And I might fall back and ask somebody that I know has really never been there in that way for me. And I get knocked down a peg. And so it vacillates. And people in your world can change too. We hope that they evolve and grow. And maybe it's somebody you could never confide in before when you were younger. But as you're older, they move into a different place in your world. So I want you to create this visual. Maybe pick the top 10 people that are in your life and compartmentalize them. Are they just the person you just like to hang out with? Superficially, no deep talk. Compartmentalize them in that perspective in your world. Is there somebody who you just don't trust? You just can't tell them anything personal because they'll run after you're done and go tell somebody else. Compartmentalize those people. Then you have the people who you just know have only your good interests in their heart. They are purely and honestly there for you. You compartmentalize them that way. And then you have all the people in between. The people that are able to really listen to you and give you the good advice that you need. And even though you may be seeking approval, they're honest and you know it comes from a good place. And so it makes you think, yeah, this will take a little work. Doesn't anything in life? It always takes work. Seeking approval can be a very disheartening experience if you expect too much of certain people. And that's where this visual, and if visual is too hard for you or you're afraid you might not remember which place you've placed them in your life, write it down. If you're an artist, draw them. Make this arc of how you compartmentalize these people in your life. I said 10, it could be a little less, it could be more, however you choose to. And when you are, let's say, having a text message with somebody or snapping somebody and you're feeling a little something, go to your list, your pictures, that mental intake. Where was this person? Where did you put them in that box in your life? Sometimes you might have to remind yourself. I fall backwards sometimes. I usually don't, for the most part, seek people's approval. Anybody who knows me, I don't give a fuck what you think about me kind of girl. But sometimes when I am going through things, changes in my life or accomplishments, I notice I seek approval. And I think I just comes down to I want somebody to be going, rah, rah, loved your book, read your book, you're one of my best friends, and I loved and I'm so proud of you. But not everybody who's close to me, the reality, is going to purchase my book, who's going to give me that rah-rah. And so why am I seeking approval? Probably because in my heart, I love those people and I would do it for them. That's your next question. Just because you would do it for them doesn't mean they'll do it for you. And you have to decide, are you still going to be that person who, when they have accomplishments, because that's who you are going to acknowledge them, knowing you won't get it from them. And you have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, then you need to reevaluate your position on it. Maybe not be so complimentary or every little thing you notice about them because you're so observant. Give them those little accolades. It's not mean. It's really a way of you coping because you're not receiving, but you're giving. And if giving and never receiving from that person becomes bothersome to you, you need to reevaluate how much you give of yourself to that person. And I know as I'm talking, I'm going, this sounds a little freaking confusing. And that's because it is. I mean, let's be real. The dynamics in each of your individual relationships, be it superficial, be it deep, the dynamics are vast, are ever changing, and are completely unique to you and that person, and the chemistry and the connection that you have together. And so, yes, you need to think about it. Why am I seeking approval from this particular person? Will I ever get it? Am I okay with that? Am I not okay with that? I'm going through this epiphany in my own life about seeking approval. Yes, I am a I don't give a fuck kind of girl. But when I do have major accomplishments in my life that aren't recognized by certain people, I feel let down. And so that's what I'm working on personally. Because really, if I write a book and it goes nowhere, I check off my bucket list. Writing a book and becoming an author was something I always wanted to do. So who gives a crap if I get approval? I fulfilled my dream of becoming an author. Do I intend on it being my last book? Absolutely not. But right now it is the book. And I'll plug it, A Wanderlust Within, A Journey to Self-Discovery by Ilise Litwin. Anyways, I digress. The same thing happens with my podcast. I knew not everybody I knew would listen to my podcast. Podcasts aren't for everybody. But I'd like to be asked how it's going or doing. And so why am I seeking that approval? Because I can look at my analytics and know how it's doing. And so this is how I am changing this fall backwards for myself, because I've fallen backwards. I've made some major life changes that are extremely obvious. And I guess that's why I've fallen backwards a little bit with, and this is the part where I talked to you before about analyzing why. Why do you seek approval? Why does this person's advice bothering you? You have to ask yourself the why question. And so why did I go from I don't give a fuck to seeking approval about some major life accomplishments? And I think it's because I sat in a rut so long and I've made some major changes that you hope the people in your life who are close to you notice it or participate in it or support it. So how do I turn that disappointment around? Well, I've already turned it around. And it was simply changing my thought process. Again, the book, a bucket list. The podcast started during COVID to be able to still give therapeutic advice, to be able to reach out to people because we were all isolated, and now it's 6 seasons and it's still going, and I'm doing it because I want to do it. Not because I want people to say, hey, great, because I have my analytics to tell me that I have over almost 32,000 downloads. I don't need, and this is what I may sound a little pompous right now. It's not. This is the self talk that I'm trying to show you that I went through to help you. I never did the podcast to have that approval, to seek that approval. I did it to fulfill something in myself. And as I look at my analytics, I'm doing it. I'm damn well doing it. I'm fulfilling that. And I don't give a crap if not one person I know listens to it. Because I'm moving back to I don't give a fuck person. I fell backwards. But I'm looking at the things that I found myself seeking approval for. Why did I seek approval for it? Why was I falling backwards? And then I had to look at, well, why did I do it to begin with? I did it for me. And if I'm proud of myself, ultimately, nobody else matters. If you are following a healthy path, not destructive, but a healthy path, and accomplishing goals and moving through it and moving forward and evolving, it doesn't matter what other people think. You'll see a lot of relationships end because someone's moving forward and someone's not. Someone's stagnant, comfortable in where they've been. And the other person in the relationship is evolving and moving forward. And that can destroy relationships because the person who's moving forward is looking behind and seeing that person sitting on the couch maybe behind. And the person sitting on the couch comfortable in where they are, which is okay. You should be comfortable in where you are, is seeing that person going off into the distance and really getting harder and harder to see. So there's a balance in your life. If you're in a relationship, if you have very close friends, do you want to grow with someone? Or do you want to move away from someone? And that's another whole ball game that we're not going to get into today. But I want you to be aware of the whole complicated dynamics of learning how to not seek approval. Just being okay with your own self and seeing in front of you your accomplishments and what you've done, without moving away from the important people in your life. You can grow, you can flourish, but still maintain your relationships. And that becomes easier when you don't seek others' approval. Because when you don't seek others' approval, you feel less competitive. That I got to get ahead of them. I got to move ahead. Because the only competition that you have is with yourself. And what are the goals you set for yourself? And so once you stop seeking that approval, that need to outdo someone, or that need to do better than someone, or feel better than someone, or just to, go beyond what healthy competition is. If you only seek the approval of yourself, you will see how your heart will be lighter, your head will be lighter, the pressure on your shoulders will be lighter, and you won't feel hurt or disappointed by others who aren't acknowledging your accomplishments. Yes, if you get it, it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I mean, when someone gives me, a good job, or I love something I did, when an old friend reaches out to me and says, oh my God, I loved this week's podcast. Oh, that makes me feel so freaking good. I can't tell you. I mean, it just warms my heart. I'm going to take that in. I'm going to embrace that, but I don't need it. And that's where you have to work on the evolution of you in not seeking approval. If you get the accolades, if you get that well done, or I'm so proud of you, or that's great and I love what you did, great. Write it down, jot it down. When someone sends me a text message that makes me feel really good, I take a picture of it. So when I am feeling a little, is what I'm doing really making a difference? I can go back to the picture of that text message and go, yeah, it is making a difference. I am accomplishing my goals and what I set out to do. And for this podcast, do you seek approval? It's time for you now to really evaluate what, why, how you seek approval. It's time to compartmentalize the people in your world, put them in their boxes so you know when to open that box when they are that person that you need in that situation, in that life experience, just wanting to hang out, just wanting to have pure fun, nothing deep. Make that arc of the people. Draw the people in your world and where they belong in your life. When you do that, you will feel so empowered because that visual gives you a sense of control. And even though it's been up in your brain and in your heart and you really knew it, putting it down on paper and seeing it in front of you is a very emboldening experience. It gives you a very concrete look at the people in your world. So don't seek approval. When you get those accolades, take them in wholeheartedly and absorb them. The only person's approval that I want you to seek is your own. Thank you for joining me today at Wide Open Spaces with Ilise. Remember, positive thoughts always create positive energy. Go out and explore all those wide open spaces in your world. And please go to my social media. Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, LinkedIn. I could go on and on. Follow me, subscribe, like, and please leave me comments. I love to hear if you've listened to a podcast and it just hit home with you. And until next week, my friends, ciao.